Sleeve's Senior Pickleball Report is brought to you by TNC Network. Get ready for an exciting episode of People of Pickleball with Mike Sliwa. We're about to dive deep into conversations with influential figures from the world of pickleball. So let's get it going.
Today we speak with Richard and Alla of Ra. It's a company that they call Wholeheartedly Hemp. And we are going to have a very important conversation about the role of cannabis and hemp, marijuana in pickleball and how it can help relieve pain for us as players and athletes as we progress in the game and as we get older. It's a very important conversation because this country and the world, quite frankly, has had a pretty, controversial relationship with this plant or these plants. So today we break that down and get to sort of, no pun intended, the root of the matter. But before we do that, consider subscribing to the channel if you like this content. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos. And check out our newsletter. Subscribe to that for your daily dose of pickleball news. Also, check out all the links in the description for paddle discounts, shoe discounts. And check out Thrive. ThrivePB.com. They have a paddle coming out that is going to change the industry as far as swing weight goes and how to use swing weight on your own paddle. So check out that. Go there and sign up for their updates. That is thrivepb.com. All right, let's get to that conversation with Alla and Richard. Alla and Richard from Ra, Wholeheartedly Hemp. Welcome to the Senior Pickleball Report.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Right on. So I call this episode Don't Fear the Flower, just like the Blue Oyster Cult song, Don't Fear the Reaper.
Yeah.
Good tune.
People seem to fear anything that has to do with any association to cannabis, marijuana, even hemp, and just like they fear death.
Right.
So I think...
Unfortunately,
right. Talking about... pickleball specifically, because that's my audience. And it was been estimated that the medical costs for pickleball the last year to the U.S. As far as insurance goes was about $400 million. So people are getting dinged. People are getting hurt. People aren't warming up properly, and people need things to, fix and fill their addiction to pickleball. And, it's an interesting thing because we're talking about the addiction of pickleball. And I think most people associate anything to do with sort of cannabis or anything like that as an addiction or a slippery slope to something else. So we're going to break down
the gateway.
Exactly. The gateway. We're going to break down and see if we can sort of talk more deeply about the narrative and what the narrative is and what the narrative could possibly be and help people.
Right. I mean, I think, think about how many years this has been ingrained in our society here.
Exactly.
In America, like don't do drugs and the gateway. And then, the baby boomers, that's how they raised us. Like I'm a Gen Xer. I was raised by baby boomers. And I think that with that fear, and then it got taken into this place of total recreational, let's get annihilated and get as high as we can. And then it turned from this plant that started out as just any plant. It's medicine. It's from the earth. It's got so many magical properties to it. And then it turned into something that you have to fear. And then it turned into something that's only recreational and that'll mess you up. And so what we're trying to do is bring it back to the fact that this is a plant from the earth that has medicinal and magical powers and benefits,
Absolutely.
Redirect that energy into a positive space because that's where this plant started, in a positive place, something that it could do beneficial for our minds and our bodies. And it's up to us on how we choose to use it. And I think that's where we've sort of lost ourselves. Maybe in the beginning, we got this narrative as this is what it is, this is what it does. And we were sort of pigeonholed in that lane. And now we're trying to change that narrative to understand that, you know what, it's only as weird as we make it. And there are ways that we can use this in a positive way. Let's find out about those.
Right. And, you know, just for a little bit of background to the audience, Alla and Richard currently live in Wisconsin, and I'm from Wisconsin. Now, Wisconsin doesn't have any laws really on the books to speak of as far as medical use for marijuana specifically or recreational use. And someone who lives in New Mexico, we have both. We have medical and recreation. And marijuana in the valley that I live in, or cannabis or hemp even, is pretty much been free flowing in this valley for a very long time. This is the area where they say hippies go to die, so to speak. So the narrative here hasn't been it's no big deal, and people have been using it for medicine for a very long time. And so when I go back to Wisconsin and I, you know, interact with people and we talk about it, there is a different narrative, and Alla touched upon this, that we have been sort of pounded into submission to think that this is an evil thing. And, you know, and this is from a state, by the way, that is alcohol crazy. If you go to any festival in Wisconsin, there's alcohol.
It's why it's not legal.
The Tavern League.
The Tavern League is so huge in Wisconsin that, you know, they're worried about those tax dollars not flowing as much to them if more people are, you know, using cannabis.
Finding another avenue.
Or whatever you want to call it. And it just all comes down to pharmaceuticals as well. You know, like the pharmaceutical companies have no interest in you being able to get a plant that you can grow yourself and help your body, mind, and soul heal from the inside out. They have no interest in that whatsoever, because that defeats their whole purpose on this planet then, you know?
The three main pain points of what we can do for CBD, for example, anxiety, sleeplessness, and inflammation. Those are three hot buttons, huge ones for big pharma, you know?
Right.
Sleep, feeling good when they hurt. They're getting anxious and nervous. We're doing that. No, hemp is doing that. We're just advocates for it so people can understand that.
So let's talk about that. You know, you mentioned a couple of things. Let's talk about some of the differences. Let's talk about CBDs, what they are, THC, what they are, hemp, marijuana, and let's get some of those things out there for folks so we can all be on the same page what we're talking about here.
First of all, CBD, THC, CBG, CBN, these are all just different names for different cannabinoids. Right. They're all cannabinoids. Our bodies have an endocannabinoid system inherently already within us.
It's like an organic computer.
So the way that these all work is they help with the synapses between the different endocannabinoids to help rewire whatever is going on and is off, and help your body learn how to heal itself in a way, you know, like, and it touches like the inflammation endocannabinoids or whatever it may be. And so CBD is a cannabinoid that has, you know, may have contained trace amounts of THC in it, depending on how it's extracted.
Sure.
So you can either extract and have it as an isolate. So the extraction is fully just the CBD. You can do a full spectrum or a whole spectrum where they extract everything. So then it will have trace amounts of THC. But ultimately, CBD has no psychedelic properties to it at all.
Right.
And then we have the THC, which is what we associate with when we say marijuana or cannabis. We're thinking, okay, THC, we're going to get high off of this.
Right.
There's that preconceived notion again.
Whatever this cannabinoid is that we're talking about has properties to it that help our bodies heal.
Right. So let's talk about hemp versus marijuana and why hemp is being used in all 50 states legally.
So where it starts is that all cannabis is hemp, but not all hemp is cannabis. For example, all dachshunds are dogs, but not all dogs are dachshunds.
Okay.
So in cannabis, it has much more concentrated THC and less in the CBD.
Okay.
Yin to the yang, hemp has far more CBD in concentration, less in THC, but it is the exact same cannabinoid with THC. It is in both. So which is sort of ironic.
So yeah, when the Farm Bill passed in 2018 and it legalized hemp production across the US, and people started looking for ways as we do, to make it more than that. See what else we can find and what are the loopholes.
Push the envelope.
Right.
Sure.
Obviously, some people were in it to make the money, because if there's a way that we can get people to, get high or whatever it is, and make $1 on it, great. And then there was other people in the space like Richard and I that were like, okay, we can get this medicine to more people and we can educate people as to what this can do for your mind, body, and soul.
All of it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so one of the ways that we found that we could do that, especially here in Wisconsin, is since hemp is legalized, hemp has THC, just smaller concentrated amounts,
Right.
but we can extract it. And since it's hemp derived THC, it is legal. And since it's hemp derived THC, it is legal in all 50 states for the most part.
Okay.
We can cross state lines with it. Whereas cannabis, because it's only legal, for instance, New Mexico, where you live, any products that are made legally under that law in New Mexico have to stay in New Mexico. They can't travel outside of the borders of the state. Whereas is free flowing. Like
hemp derived THC is free flowing.
Yeah, there's a few.
There are a few states that don't allow CBD, and we have learned too that CBD is sort of a different area in terms that high risk and how we move it around. But right now, this hemp derived THC is something wonderful and special, and it's allowing us to bring this good word, as it were, to other people, so we can continue what we're doing with this awareness and education.
So I associate on this channel with people who are of the 50 plus age and play a sport that is booming all over the globe, specifically in the United States.
I've seen it under underpasses, under highways. They've created pickleball courts. It's pretty crazy. And what we have found too is that is our demographic of a customer. And we didn't realize that when we started, we thought we had a totally different demographic. And then it was, 55 plus that was coming to us for exactly what you're saying, like pain, sleep,
something that gives you maybe a lack of a non-Western way of getting to things, but not exactly being non-Western. Right. We have people who are coming to us who want to get off pills and Western medication and things like that. They want to try. Yeah. We have people who are in their sober place and they're maintaining sobriety, but finding that okay to use a hemp product.
Yeah. And I think, talking to folks in and around pickleball that are in the demographic we've been talking about, my particular demographic, 50 plus, is that there is this idea of the pharmaceuticals that they've been taking, anything. We can just even talk basic ibuprofen. So I'll just give you a little story. I was hiking a few years ago and happened to be on a trip where I got introduced to pickleball, and I was hiking with somebody who had was recovering from knee surgery and had some pain and was, and we were talking about taking CBDs or just, smoking a joint because that's what happened to be along on the trip. For easing some of the discomfort. And one of the people along with us was a nurse, and sort of off the cuff just said, well, why don't you just take some ibuprofen? And I know that came from a place of like worrying about this individual taking some drug that, again, goes back to the narrative of fear, don't fear the flower, but fearing the flower at this point.
Yeah.
And I thought this person's a nurse, and it's so prevalent actually in the medical field as well that we would actually keep suggesting and prescribing things that are long-term and short-term, somewhat harmful because we're comfortable with that story rather than something that actually is a little more holistic, obviously natural. It's a flower. So that's kind of where this story for me started to really roll in the fact of like, wow, it's really deep ingrained, even in people who are trained professionally.
Yeah. It really is. And part of that I feel is like our society and how we value convenience.
Yeah. And obviously new things scare people. Change scares people.
Unfortunately,
it does. And I think by kind of delving into this world, those things will change as well, because it does things for you in a way that you really can't explain until you sort of consume something like that and then experience it yourself and, see the impact it has on your own life personally. I can talk about it and the both of you can talk about it. But at the end of the day, it's something you're going to have to try.
Right. Well, and that's the thing with any plant medicine, it's so just because something can help one person doesn't mean it's going to work the same for you. And
right, exactly.
And the fact that we all have our own endocannabinoid system within us, the way this plant works is it speaks to that system. So it's going to speak differently no matter who you are, because we're not all wired the same. We don't all have the same problems. We might, two of us might have a stomach ache, but my stomach ache could be because I ate something funky. Somebody else's stomach ache could be because they have a cancerous growth. You don't know, You're just feeling the effects of it. And that's where plant medicine really shines, is because you can really dial it in, and it's not a one stop, like this pill will take care of your stomach ache and your stomach ache and your stomach ache. And it would, but it's not going to start getting down to the nitty gritty of what's actually going on with you and your body and your mind. And heart. It's all connected.
And the cannabinoid too is CBD. It's an adaptive. Alla mentioned how we have the endocannabinoid system, which again is an organic computer, and CBD is an organic computer program, and it focuses on three things: the inflammation, sleeplessness, and anxiety. And as an adaptive, it focuses on the ones, as Alla just touched on here, that is more important, or the box that is not checked for yourself. Right. I don't deal with a lot of anxiety, so it doesn't help me with that so much. But what I really do suffer from is inflammation and lowered sleeplessness. And those are the boxes it checks for me personally. I need that. That's the relief I'm looking for, my pain point. And others are.
And I think what could really help is if folks really go to your site, and I'll have the link in the description, and you can check it out. But if they read your blog, there's a lot of things in there that I think folks can pick up and kind of figure out like what's going on with me and what particular product might be best for me. And then obviously go through the product list, and if necessary, need to contact you as well, because, there's a lot of choices out there. And if it's something new for you and, you still have a little bit of anxiety or fear about that, it's good to talk to somebody like yourselves who have some expertise in that, instead of now, necessarily just walking into a dispensary and not necessarily knowing what you're doing. You can spend some time on the site. You can go through the blog, you can go through the products, and you can ask questions. And I think ultimately that's kind of the comfort level people are probably looking for.
And we are so open to people just calling us or emailing us and having that conversation.
Encourage.
And all that information will be below, folks. So right on. Before we go, let's talk a little bit about where you want Raw to go in the next, couple years. So obviously you're doing amazing things, great products. By the way, really cool merch. Check the hat. So check out their stuff, but like, where do you want this? Where do you see this going over the next few years? Obviously you're kind of just getting your wheels going, and you've done some amazing things and have some incredible products. I've used the gummies. I've used the freeze. The freeze is phenomenal. The gummies are very cool. And to get an idea of what's in them today even makes it a little more special for me. So talk about what you see coming for Raw.
Well, I think ultimately, just getting it out there to as many people as we can. And we have been focusing a lot on the human connection and just getting in front of people and talking to people and, getting that one-on-one, so that when we get more into the brick and mortar side of things, people already have a connection and have an idea of who we are. And we're just not another product on the shelf that you don't know about, because there are a lot of products.
Sure.
And there's, a lot of products that aren't that great, that, are just going along with the hype and, of what this is. And the fact, the hemp hype, and the fact that you can ultimately, make money at it. We are looking to grow. We are looking to expand.
Our footprint is really important. Again, Alla was mentioning how we're doing this. They spent this summer to get out and have these sort of things, talk to people, have people see it, have people tangible. It's easier in front of people when you can talk to really start to believe or accept or go against something that's already in your mind, right?
Right.
Now something that we're really focusing on is we've had this. We understand now the importance of a circuit, getting out there, events and pop-ups and talking and having these sort of pieces at ours. Because our pop-ups are educational time. A lot of our time is explanation and talking and finding out about who we're talking with and then seeing what our product can do in helping.
And
I'm sorry, really quick. Then the next thing to do, I think, in our evolution is to build that footprint. Now let it be seen so people can see our products on shelves and know that they're there. Now we're tangible. I can see, and this is here. And I don't necessarily have to. I can go on my own time. It's convenient for me to be here. They can trust. I can always go to XYZ on 3rd Street and find my products.
Right.
That trust is what people are looking for. They're here for me. We're working together with them. That's, I think, what we're going to build that footprint in a brick and mortar.
Yeah. And ultimately, obviously we're 2 people. We can't do this all ourselves as much as we think we could.
How hard it is.
I've built a business like this before, and it's not an easy thing to do on your own. So, ultimately we will be looking for other people, partnerships, investors, people that can help take what we have created and really get it out there to people, because we believe that it can change lives. We believe that it can help people feel better, even if it's just a couple people, like just the fact that something that we are putting together and putting out there is helping somebody else feel better. It
only takes one, it takes one domino, and then it will take a little bit more time, but it just takes one. And honestly, I believe in my heart, we've done our one. We've helped a lot of people. So now we're just looking for, I guess, to be honest, looking for help to help more people.
Sure.
What can we do to be able to offer more of this relief to more people? Because we're always going to be here doing what we do. Right. Now it's time to get more, because there are a lot of other people that we can help. And if it's just giving them the knowledge, that's a gift in itself. In fact, that's the great.
I agree.
I would love it if they grab the product, but if we can bring them at ease that, hey, you know what? I've got a 15-year-old child who is smoking cannabis and I'm terrified of what it's going to do. And now I'm worried about X, Y, and Z, all these things. And maybe we can give that parent a piece of relief knowing that it's not. Have a conversation. Don't put that negative onto it and just.
Or the fact that we know how and where and what we source, and we know all of our products, and we know we have all of our certificates of analysis. Absolutely. We know that there's no heavy metals or toxins in our products, and that as a parent or a consumer or whoever, you can trust that. So like, for instance, if you are giving this medicine to your child in whatever form that you choose as a parent to do, that they will be safe in taking it, and they're not taking it off of Joe at the playground, or
something. Yeah. And this is,
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I think exactly. So I encourage people to check out Raw, and obviously people that are in the pickleball world, I think what draws people to it is it's a big community, and you're a part of another community, and that is uplifting people as well. And I think the combination of these 2 worlds could move mountains in some ways, because one has a lot of exposure to it right now, and the other one is emerging and trying to come out of the shadows. And I encourage anybody that is looking to partner to check out Raw and contact them. And I think for you two, I would encourage you to get involved in the pickleball community. I think the closest big event y'all could probably go to next summer is probably the Beer City Open in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and have a booth there, because I think you would blow people's minds. And I think you would make a lot of connections there. It's a great tournament. It's independently run.
Awesome.
And I think it's close enough for you to do something like that. So
Thank you for that.
I encourage you to get involved in that, because I think the combination of these two groups can really do some amazing things.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Awesome.
You bet.
Yeah.
So, hey, again, check out Raw. Links in the description. Check out their products, their merch, read their blog. Obviously, any questions, way easy to get a hold of them. They're super open. I've talked to them a bunch of times. And thank you so much, Alla and Richard.
Thank you. Thanks for taking time, you guys.
Thanks so much. Yes.
All right. A big thank you to Alla and Richard for a very, very informative conversation and a different look at the narrative, the story we've been telling ourselves about ourselves when it comes to things such as hemp, marijuana, cannabis, CBDs, and THC. Again, check out their website below. Plenty of cool products that could possibly help you out and relieve some of that pain. Check out their merch page as well. Really cool stuff. And hey, at the end of the day, let's pickle. Hey, if you're looking for very, very comfortable court shoes, in fact, the most comfortable court shoes I've ever worn, and I've worn a lot of them over the years playing different sports, try Fitville. We have a link in the description that gets you $20 off your purchase.